Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the brand new 2023 Sony Pictures slash Marvel original sequel film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So, 2018 we had Into the Spider-Verse. 2023 we have Across the Spider-Verse. 5 years later, Across the Spider-Verse. And then 24 we're getting Beyond the Spider-Verse. To be honest, I think it's going to be pushed again just because the writer's strike in Hollywood is still going on. It's been many a months. And I'm pretty sure the voice cast hasn't recorded anything yet. So I'm very curious how that's still going to be slated for a spring 24 release. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this is definitely part one of a two-part finale. And then there's spin-off films in production as well. So we start out with a Gwen Stacy backstory, Spider-Gwen backstory. And it's really neat because it brings us to that end post-middle credit scene of Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, where Gwen is able to multiverse peek in on Miles and say, hey, you got a minute? And then they, go hang out. So we always wondered how that happened. How did Gwen come back into this multiverse after the particle collider exploded for the final time and all the spider people in Into the Spider-Verse helped destroy the collider, right? So we get that leading up to it. So the first 20 minutes is Gwen's backstory and then that lead up. And then the last 2 hours of the movie, because it's a 2 hour and 21-minute film, very long, beautiful, is the story then of going across the Spider-Verse, right? So the Spider-Verse is explained. Miguel O'Hara's character of Spider-Man 2099 is shown as the leader of that. They go from, there's over 250 different spider people represented in this. You have Scarlet Spider, voiced by Andy Samberg, who was great. There's Spider Rex, which is wonderful. Spider Punk was just phenomenal in this as well. Another Spider Woman character, Jessica, was in this as well. A lot of new Spider people were introduced to people who are not aware of how many different Spider persons there are. I'm familiar with the Spider-Verse through the Ultimate Spider-Man series that Disney had for a long time. And there was a pirate spider in that, Spider Pirate, and I really hoped Spider Pirate was going to be in this, but he wasn't, and it's okay. I'll still survive. But it's neat seeing different interpretations of the Spider-Verse. It was very neat having the live action bits of just seen, on the screen as flashes of Miguel explaining the Spider-Verse. How you have Tobey's Spider-Man Peter Parker backstory of Uncle Ben, how that's a canon event. How you have Andrew's Peter Parker Spider-Man backstory of Uncle Ben, that's a canon event. You didn't have Tom Holland in this as Peter Parker, just in the little snippets. But you had Mrs. Chen in the convenience store in the Venom universe because of the main villainous character Spot. So it's so cool having this origin story brought about within this villainy. It's very neat getting the different explanations of why Spot is Miles Morales' nemesis in a full tangent. What's the character's name? Jason something. He voices Spot. Very, very smart. Explaining that he was one of the scientists who was experimenting with the particle accelerator, who brought a spider from a different universe into theirs, and that spider's the one who bit Miles in his universe. So he's technically an anomaly, and that the Spider-Man who was supposed to be Spider-Man in that universe never happened because that spider was sent to Miles' universe. That's why there was two spider people in Miles' universe when there's only supposed to be one spider person per universe. Very, very interesting explaining. And I was talking to my brother about this because we all watched it as a giant, group family event for Father's Day. And he brought up a good point that the Loki TV series uses the word variant and the Spider-Verse series uses the word anomaly. And it's the same word. That something happens outside of a canon event that changes the timeline and has to be fixed. And that's what the job of these spider people is, to fix these canon events, to fix the non-canon events, the anomaly events, to get back to the canon universe. So there's Spider-Man India in this. Karan Soni is the voice of that. Very, very awesome character. Very neat introductions, backstories. You could do whole spin-offs on each individual character. It's wonderful. So it's great how in-depth this is. It's great how it does very well with explanation, but then the twists, and then why does Spot want to become the ultimate supervillain? Well, to get vengeance, because he can't fix himself, so he's just out to destroy Miles now, and anybody else is going to help him by destroying the multiverse, because Spot can create little windows into each multiverse because of that particle accelerator, because he was affected by it. Very well done. It was very long, but it felt like 3 episodes of a TV series, to be honest. You had very specific endings of story and the beginnings of the next one, kind of a thing. So we'll see what happens within the Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third and final film in the Miles Morales trilogy. But then, of course, we have our Spider-Gwen spin-off series with a lot of the female Spider people. We're going to have other spin-offs as well. It's a dynasty franchise. It's made more money than the full total of the first run of the first film 5 years ago. But who knows how much more it's going to make before it leaves theaters, and then how much the third one's going to make. This is just done so well with critics. It's done so well with audience. Soundtrack is absolutely amazing. The art is just so mesmerizing. It's just very hard to not look away because you're just so focused. It's so organized, chaotic, gorgeous beauty, and that's my aesthetic. I've always had that within a room, organized chaos. It's good to see the chaos of your mind up. That way you can better differentiate, and it calms you down because you can't focus specifically on everything at the same time. You have to focus on certain little aspects. That's what this movie does. That's what this franchise does. Very different within animation style, very different within a movie telling style. But the chaotic, organized, chaotic aesthetic is my favorite. And it works so well in this film. It works so well in general. It's very hard to pull off. This franchise does it. Absolutely love it. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.